Welcome to We Time Convo. I'm your host, Liza, and today we are exploring something truly exciting, Time Magazine's annual list of the year's most exciting innovations.
From game-changing tech to breakthroughs in science, Time has picked the innovations that are redefining what's possible. And we're going to break down some of our favorite picks for you. We're going to go through best inventions of 2024.
According to Time Magazine, we have this article here.
Yes. And to be honest, when I think of inventions, it kind of thinks more like historical. I never really think like we're inventing things all the time. Like to me, when we have inventions, it's just like, oh, like that's just kind of the new thing. I honestly don't think of the work that goes into actually like bringing it from a thought to actual reality.
Right.
Is that kind of crazy?
It just seems like a lot to me. It seems like way too much for me, so I just let other people do it.
Like I'm not like that. I don't know. My brain does not work like that.
I think you just really have to have a passion for it and the drive to like make it happen, right? Because everybody has ideas. Everybody has ideas every time, like, oh, why doesn't anyone invent this? But then as far as like executing it and, you know.
I don't even think like that. That's
I do all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So do you want me to tell you my invention?
Well, go for it.
If I share this, you think people are going to copy it? Like
they might.
Okay.
Somebody might actually.
So I have this invention. Well, I guess it's like this invention. You know how when you're boxing, right? There's this rink, this big old rink, right?
Okay.
And you like each round, like they just stop and then they go at it again. Well, this rink each round just gets smaller and smaller.
So you basically can't go around?
Yes. Like, right? Isn't that such a good idea? Because like I don't even know. I was watching and I'm just like, why do they just keep dancing around? Just get to it and just like box
it out.
Right?
Like it's knock each other. Yes. Someone knocks someone out.
Because they have this big old ring. So I'm like, you know what? Every round they should just make it go closer and closer.
You know what?
I think about things all the time. Like
I don't think like that. I honestly don't think like that. But you know, the crazy part is, so have you ever done kind of like that virtual tour? Or like a virtual like game where you put the VR
glasses. Oh, by the way, we have Hylan here joining us.
Hi, Hylan. No, so it's wild. Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story. My niece, she's all into this stuff. So we were in Vegas. It was me, my mom, my daughter, my two nieces, and my sister. She's like, let's do this thing. And we're like, okay, sure. I've never done it before. Mind you, my mom is probably in her 70s at this point, right? Never done anything like it. It was wild. Like as soon as you put it on and they...
Oh, like the virtual reality thing?
Yes.
Okay. I've never done it.
It is wild. It is
Does it look
wild.
Real?
Yes. We walked in and we literally thought we were on a cliff. And it felt so real, but you have to understand, we're probably in just a room, right? But it like takes your mind. It's wild. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend that you experience it because it's wild.
Crazy.
But again, somebody had to invent that. And I don't know, maybe because we live in the society that we do, we just take these things for granted.
For sure.
Yes.
So let's
going
get to
back,
it.
Best inventions of 2024 from Time.
Yeah. So I did read through the article and picked a few things that interested me personally. And I'm just going to go off the bat with, because I used to be really big into composting because my sister, Heidi, was really into, I don't know, like the earth and organic. Like she's just very like into recycling and saving the earth and Captain Planet. So I got really into composting at one point. I even like had my little compost bin.
When you say one point, what happened?
Well, okay, let me tell you. So
you said at one point
I got
you stopped.
Well, I got really into gardening and then like making my own compost. So I did start like a little compost bin, and I actually even bought like composting worms, right?
Yes, I remember this.
Yes, and so like I would throw all my scraps in there, save scraps, and like these worms would make really, really good soil for my fruits and vegetables that I was growing. Well, one time it rained and the worms got out and they all drowned.
Aww.
And I just forgot about it. So anyways, this invention it's called a mill food recycler. So Americans discard some 60 million tons of food annually, and only have 10% of U.S. households have to access to compost collection. I think, Irene, do you compost still?
She says
Yes.
she has it.
I have the mill.
Yeah, so you have the mill. Okay. So to help people dispose of food waste more sustainably, Mill Industries last year launched a kitchen appliance that uses a dual grinding system powerful enough to break down even avocado pits.
That is.
So do you have that one?
It's still in the box.
Oh my God.
still in the box.
So it turns food scraps into dry grounds overnight. So, I mean, the worm thing, it will take weeks because worms have to eat all the
Digest
scraps
it
and then they poop it out.
Yeah.
Right. So this is amazing. So when you wake up in the morning, your scraps will look like coffee grounds, and then you can just use it to fertilize your. Okay, Irene, I'm going to have to ask.
How much is that? It's upward of 500.
Yeah.
So,
but it was rewarding for me because, you look at the things that you throw away, like food scraps, eggshells, all that stuff.
why do they make it so expensive?
It's giant.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it easy to do? So you just basically, is it an easy machine to
I
use?
haven't opened it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think for me, it's like, okay, instead of throwing out trash that will sit somewhere, in landfills,
recycle.
You can recycle and you can use it. And, I just think it's composting is amazing. It's things that you already have in your house, things that you're going to throw away anyways. Why not turn that into fertilizer if you grow your own garden? So I think it's amazing. I really like this invention. I'm glad that Irene had bought it. So now I could see how it works.
Okay. So Mill Industries, I'm more than happy to also do this. And so if you want to send me a sample, please do.
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
use it.
Yeah, I have a lot of scraps at home. So Hylan, did you have anything that sparked your interest reading the article?
Yeah, I actually thought the Apple Air 2 earbuds for hearing help was like a standout to me, because I was like, there are so many people who have like hearing disability and, have compromised hearing. So if something like earbuds can like look nice and then like, play music and also help you hear better, that's super beneficial.
That's amazing. I didn't even come across that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it will be as much as regular earbuds. I don't know, because hearing aids are expensive.
I mean, it's, I think anything Apple is a little pricier than normal. Apple AirPods Pro 2. The FDA has cleared Apple's software update that uses iPhone for clinical grade hearing tests, similar to the ones audiologists perform, and turn AirPods Pro 2 into hearing aids if they determine you have mild to moderate hearing loss.
Oh, well, this one is interesting. I think this one, if you have not had this one on your list yet, because you're such into health and fitness, is Phenomic Sciences MyPhenome. So as effective as weight loss drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound are, they don't work for everyone. Mayo Clinic obesity expert Dr. Andreas Acosta and his team studied thousands of obesity patients to understand which factors contributed to weight gain, including genetics, microbiome, metabolic characteristics, and behavioral habits, and created I don't know if I'm saying this right. MyPhenome, a generic test that, together with a detailed questionnaire, categorizes people into 4 weight gain types. One called hungry gut is most likely to respond well to GLP-1 weight loss drugs. People identified as hungry gut lost twice as much weight while on the drugs as those who tested negative for hungry gut. So have you heard of this before?
No, I haven't.
No, it's interesting though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of DNA tests that are coming out.
Yeah. So this is like a DNA test, or?
I think it has to do with your DNA, because phenome is like a short word that is correlated with DNA. It's a genetic test.
Got it.
So it is your DNA.
How about you, Debbie?
I'm reading this thing on finance. So simplifying tax returns. So as you guys know, there are millions of Americans that would be eligible for free income tax filing, but we just don't take advantage of it. And a good reason for that is it's not really well integrated with the rest of our financial lives. So there is something called a column tax figures. It's cheaper and easier when tax filing is part of a banking or accounting application you're already using. So this is out there. I'm like, I'm always interested in finance. So I got to check this out, because here's the other thing. a lot of inventions that happen aren't necessarily like it has to be trending, right? In order for like the general public to actually be aware of it and then start looking into it. So unless they have really good marketing, unless there is some way like the normal, like I didn't hear about this. So I'm thinking like, this is something that I would like to look into.
So I was looking at this as well because we actually had a meeting with our school nurse. Now a lot of vaccines and what is that called when you get an allergic reaction and you have to like...
Anaphylaxis?
Yes. So a lot of that instead of a shot now is through the nasal.
Oh.
Yeah. So she said that they're
Interesting.
creating something rather than, just jabbing a student, just up your nose.
What's it called?
This one that I was looking specifically is an at-home nasal vaccine. So FDA recently approved the first at-home vaccine to prevent flu. So flu vax, they're going to have the nasal for flu, but they are coming out with, if any allergic reactions instead of the
Wow, that's so cool.
up the nose. So that would be very,
I hate
helpful.
needles.
Yeah. So they're doing a lot of that now. It's just nasal.
A lot of
Crazy.
people hate needles. So this is definitely yep.
And I would
step
assume
up.
it's good for little ones too, right? That are scared.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's true. So talking about little ones, from the parenting side of things, better breast milk storage. So there is an invention, Mila's Keeper Milk Keeper. It's a so, as you know, breastfeeding is healthy for babies, but it can be burdensome for parents. So when you're away from home, obviously it can be a challenge of keeping that breast milk good for your baby. And so there's an invention now where there is a portable breast milk cooler with a reusable high density ice pack to keep 12-ounce milk safe on the go for up to 20 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that because I was a breastfeeding mom for 2 out of the 3 kids. And it is hard keeping breast milk cold.
Really?
So you don't want that to spoil. It's like liquid gold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How soon does it spoil?
I mean, you have to, I believe, like feed it. Well, breast milk actually can sit out longer than regular powdered milk, but definitely if you're like pumping and you want to store that, you definitely want to store that within, I think, a few hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one. So one that stood out to me is this tool called DermaSensor, and it's for detecting skin cancer. So now it's been cleared by the FDA for use by a non-specialist physician to detect skin cancer. And I know that, I've had, older friends who have been diagnosed with skin cancer, and it's always painful. I have one friend in Hawaii that has skin cancer, and he's always like, I have to go to the dermatologist today, and they gotta extract this, burn this off, or like, cut this off, and so I think it's a relief for people with skin cancer or, are at risk for skin cancer.
That's crazy. Because I always think, like, I don't know, I have this paranoia every time I see like a new mold or something pop up. And I'm always like, is this cancerous or does this look questionable? I don't know. I'm very paranoid about that stuff. So that's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to add, it's the deployment of light to analyze tissue. So yes, and it promptly detects cancerous skin lesions at rate similar to that of in-person dermatologists. So I think that's a win.
Yeah. Well, here's another one, and it's pretty trending, is ADUs. So, from a household perspective, ADUs are now becoming a really big
an
thing.
ADU?
So an ADU, sorry about that. It's building an adult dwelling unit.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
It's abbreviation ADU, where, people purchase it on their property. So they basically have a separate, basically tiny home for, someone to live at, generally your elderly parents, right? Because especially here in the Silicon Valley, if you have space back there, and Irene, anytime you want to build one,
She can fit like 2 houses back
I
there.
know. Historically, it takes months to actually build one. So there is the Samara Backyard. They are homes aiming to cut out the turmoil of the challenge of building an ADU. So they're quoted, "We think that an ADU should be as easy to get as a Tesla." So the co-founder and CEO, Mike McNamara, Homeowners deserve flexible space that's beautifully designed and that can be financially empowering. So, they do have models starting at actually 5 models starting at 274.
Which is nothing for a house here.
Exactly. Yeah. And it can range from anywhere from 420 to 950 square feet. So it is something to think about, especially, if you have aging parents or you have space in that backyard and you want to make some extra money. And it's part of a lot of these is just, it feeds the need of what's happening in our environment.
Right.
Right. So it's very interesting because, again, especially here in the Bay Area, space is expensive. Housing is expensive. So people are definitely speaking to alternatives.
True that.
Yeah, I have one. So another one that stood out to me is now you can generate water from the sky.
I was looking at that too. Yeah.
So it's called Aquaria Atmospheric Water Generators, and it's the company actually broke ground in Hawaii, and it's been installed, I think, or it's going to be installed in 1,000 homes, and eventually it'll produce 260 gallon of water a day. Could be really beneficial to a lot of people around the world, especially for those who have trouble getting clean water and just getting water in general. So.
Yeah, and I read that it also takes moisture from humidity and turns it into water.
Right. It basically traps humidity and and bottle it or store it into a well kind of.
Well, speaking of water, I was looking at this zapping PFAs away. So PFAs is, and I'm gonna totally screw this up, is polyfluoroalkyl substances, which have been linked to cancer. So this specific invention will reduce that in our water supply. And I'm very paranoid what's in water because I drink water all the time as well. So very interesting. So governments are finally cracking down on PFAs in drinking waters. Now companies and municipalities need help cleaning up our water. So the companies Gradient Forever One injects billions of microbubbles into water supplies to break the PFAs away from water molecules. This resulting in PFAs foam cleaned by electrodes that zap the PFAs away. So basically, they're not sweeping PFAs under the carpet, but they're helping significantly reduce PFAs in our water supply. Yeah.
Well, I have one here. It's around health. So who wants to learn how to fall asleep faster?
Me.
Well, Moonbird. So basically they have an ergonomic device that you hold in your hand and breathe in when it gently expands and out when it contracts. So if you can imagine having something holding and it teaching you how to actually breathe, it sounds like kind of ridiculous, but I can kind of actually so Hylan's looking at me really, that's an invent. But here's the thing, I actually would want to try it because me as a person who has a hard time to listen and do it on my own, if I physically had something that teaches me how to actually breathe and I don't know, you're focused on that sense, maybe it kind of would shut out some of the noise that
I think that would help with meditation. Because I mean, meditation, a lot of it is how you breathe, right?
So I got to take a look at this. Let's see. Is it a device that I can purchase and return if it doesn't work?
Buy it at Costco. If they have it at Costco, you can return it.
That's interesting though.
But I do find that interesting. I'm actually interested in checking that out.
Okay, so I have one, and this is retail delivery by drone. And I actually, heard of this company while I was at Google years before. So it's called Wing. It's an Alphabet company, and they actually launched deliveries already with Walmart in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they reached 60,000 households as of May this year.
I feel like we should just be we actually should be way more advanced, but that's just me. But again, time and money.
Maybe we are. We just don't know.
Maybe we are a little old, so
yeah.
But yeah, this is, times we didn't have a chance or have the time to go through all 200 inventions, but I mean, this is up and coming. This is what's out there, and hopefully, it can help.
Yes.
With
it definitely piqued my interest. So I'm going to check out that moonbird.
yeah.
I'm kind of curious too.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Thanks for, finding this article, Irene, and sharing it with us.
Yes.
And thank you, Hylan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.